Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and if we look at the sales data, I think for a lot of those 65 million people, they would say the same thing. As cool as Arthur's story was, I know for a fact that Rockstar Games can push this game's lore even further, and with the level of graphical fidelity we've seen in the GTA 6 trailer, there is no doubt in my mind that whenever Red Dead Redemption 3 drops, it will redefine the term immersive gaming for a whole new generation. But trying to search for Red Dead Redemption 3 leaks and rumors is like fishing in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It inevitably leads to disappointment, but in today's video, I'm going to try and answer every question you might have about Red Dead Redemption 3 that we have so far, from its story to its gameplay and technical features. Together, let's see if we can uncover the mystery behind Rockstar's next magnum opus and when it might arrive on our consoles. Alright, first, let's consider if Red Dead Redemption 3 even exists as a concept within the minds of Rockstar's creative leads. A lot of people believe that the development on RDR3 won't begin until they finish working on GTA 6, and I totally understand why you might feel that way considering the sheer size of these projects, but I don't fully agree with this idea. Let me explain this further by taking a look at the development process for Red Dead Redemption 2, which is pretty well documented by now, nearly 6 years after the game's full release. Preliminary work on the Red Dead Redemption sequel had already begun in 2010, mere months after the release of the original game, and internal pitches for a sequel based on the Vanderlyn gang's history had already been floating around within the company while they were developing the first game. Rockstar's scriptwriters felt that there was a story to be told, one that extended into the past, showing the life of a gang during the last stages of the Wild West era. And so, because they felt like there was a sufficient motivation to tell a brand new story, they greenlit the pre-production for RDR2. By 2012, rough scripts had been complemented for the narrative, and all the different Rockstar studios like Rockstar North and Rockstar San Diego joined in, resulting in a total team size of nearly 2,000 people. All of this was happening while the team was still working on and finishing up GTA 5 for its 2013 release. Speaking of which, by nearly 2013, recording sessions had begun with the various voice actors, and according to a certain insider who leaked RDR2's plot in 2015, the game was around 30% complete in 2014. This shows that Rockstar has the manpower and expertise to manage multiple mega projects simultaneously. So I don't think it's entirely impossible that they're working on some early version of RDR3 right now, whether they're just laying out the story and things like that. Initial outlines and primitive scripts might already be complete, and we're just waiting for some voiceover and motion capture. Of course, this is all just speculation on my end, because Rockstar also has managed to control the flow of information extremely well when it comes to RDR3. Unlike the leaks we saw with both RDR2 and GTA 6, there is nothing to indicate that this game is even in pre-production. Is this a sign that Rockstar has beefed up internal security, or is it an indication that RDR3 is still a pipe dream? We won't know for sure until some insider comes out with more details. The absence of proof, though, hasn't stopped a bunch of articles from popping up in the dozens, and these will act as a source for other people's videos and content about how Red Dead Redemption 3 is going to change anything. Look, I love the idea of playing another Red Dead Redemption, and I know that gets everyone excited. But as you guys know, I'm trying to keep it as honest as possible in this video, and so what I did was I decided to look into the origins of some of these RDR3 rumor mills, and it turns out that most of it is tied to one specific interview from 2021 featuring Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick. And during an interview at the Jefferies Virtual Global Entertainment Conference in November of 2021, Strauss Zelnick said that he would like his top franchises to emulate the lasting power of James Bond. You know, create something truly fantastic and keep it going for decades. He said that GTA and Red Dead are both franchises that fall into this category, and that he views each release as a rare event, much like a new James Bond movie. So instead of rushing things with yearly releases and downplaying the excitement, Strauss said that he would rather give his team the room to come up with exceptional ideas that represent a giant leap forward in storytelling. And that way, Rockstar will be able to preserve their brand value and keep up the hype for future releases by raising the bar further and further and higher with each sequel. Some people may take that as confirmation of RDR3 being in the works, even though Strauss never mentioned anything of the sort, nor did he hint towards a potential future for the RDR series. All he said is that he would like it to continue strongly into the future and keep increasing sales for the company, which is typical CEO speak in these types of conferences. Then we had another period of hype that exact same year when someone discovered a Rockstar developer's LinkedIn bio that mentioned RDR3. This was a lead AI and gameplay developer, apparently Tobias Klenthaus, who's now been working at the company since 2014. Curiously, 2014 is also when RDR2 went into full-scale development, and internally, Red Dead Redemption 2 was referred to as Red Dead 3. It can be assumed that the employee had simply made a typo on his keyboard and pressed 3 instead of 2, or it could have been a reference to the company's internal naming scheme as well, because RDR2 is actually the third Red Dead game overall. People these days tend to forget about Red Dead Revolver, which was released just on PS2 and the original Xbox. Ultimately, another giant nothing burger here. The final quote-unquote leak comes from Twitter user MyTimeToShineHello, who posted a tweet on September the 4th of 2023, in which she claimed that RDR3 is officially in the works. But this is a movie-focused Twitter account that talks primarily about fan gossip and rumors related to the Marvel franchise, and her track record on everything outside of Marvel is extremely shoddy, and thus Red Dead fans looking forward to the next game should take this claim with a huge grain of salt. Now for the moment, let's assume that there is an RDR3 in development, because why not? There's always a chance. I mean, after all, Rockstar is probably really itching to release a sequel to the 7th best-selling game of all time. Fans want it, and Rockstar knows there is potential for boatloads of money to be made. However, honestly, in my opinion, I don't even see this being released until the 2030s. Because right now, GTA 6 is Rockstar's biggest focus, along with the new version of GTA Online made specifically for GTA 6. And once they release the next GTA in 2025, resources can then be freed up to begin full-scale production on the next game, probably RDR3. And if it does get released in the next 5 to 10 years or so, it will probably use the new version of Rockstar's Rage engine, the same one used in GTA 6, but this time with even more improvements. Remember, Red Dead Redemption 2 used an improved version of GTA 5's engine, and it had higher quality character models, more realistic lighting, better textures, and next-gen animations. If the GTA 6 trailer is any indication here, RDR3 might be the most photorealistic game ever created. RDR2 already made you feel like you'd been transported back to the Wild West in a time machine, but this is going to be something entirely different. I also assume that RDR3 is going to be a next-gen title, because one, I doubt the current consoles have much headroom left beyond what GTA 6 will demand of them, and then also for number 2, it's coming so far down the line in the future that we're probably going to have a new series of consoles anyway. But fully interactable as well as destructible environments, advanced physics, realistic AI, and dynamic animations are just some of the technologies that I hope we see in RDR3. Microsoft's court documents from the Activision Blizzard trial suggest a release date of late 2027 or 2028 for the 10th generation series of consoles, so don't expect to see the PlayStation 6 or RDR3 until earliest then. Next, let's talk about RDR3's story. We know absolutely nothing about it, obviously. There have been no leaks or rumors suggesting anything at all about the time period, locations, or characters involved. However, I think we can make a few educated guesses on our own if we play the last Red Dead Redemption games. We might also have a clue from Arthur's voice actor. When fans asked Roger Clark about a potential new game in the RDR series on Twitter, he replied, "I'm certain we will see RDR3 one day. When that will be though, I have absolutely no idea. Don't count on Arthur's involvement either. His story has been told, I feel." Now, Roger Clark isn't involved in the script writing, so his Twitter reply shouldn't be the final opinion on what RDR3's story might look like, but he understands Arthur's character better than any of us, and I agree with Roger Clark when he says that Arthur's story has already been told. A lot of fans want a prequel set in the 1870s or maybe even 1880s that shows the formation of the Vanderlyn gang and how Dutch trained a young Arthur. People also want to see Dutch and Hosea recruiting John, the Calendar brothers, and all the events leading up to Blackwater, as well as the cursed Blackwater heist itself. While these are super neat concepts, and they would also provide some much needed backstory to the events of RDR2, and we would get to play it out in real time, I don't think that they're good enough to warrant another new game based around the Vanderlyn gang. That would be super cool for RDR2 DLC with all this stuff to feature, because it would be a lot more believable. It would already be in RDR2, so it makes sense, but unfortunately, Rockstar just doesn't do single player DLCs anymore. What I think RDR3 needs is an entirely new story, a new gang, a new group of characters to follow, obviously an entirely fresh new protagonist to the RDR series, maybe even give us an actual multi-protagonist system like GTA 5 or GTA 6 instead of the scripted posse missions we had in RDR2, and then you can add in the whole Vanderlyn gang as a subplot or maybe even a faction you could ally with. I could also see the history behind the O'Driscoll gang if they want to keep it related to the Vanderlyn gang, and how that would deal with how Dutch teamed up with Colm O'Driscoll. If they allow us to choose between Dutch or Colm, that would be super cool. Maybe we could even have different endings based on who we partner with, kind of like Arthur's story in RDR2, but overall, as a franchise, I think Red Dead Redemption needs to take an entirely new direction with its next installment. While we're at it though, allow us to switch between characters seamlessly using the next-gen storage technology, give us a stats-based progression system with shooting, riding, stamina, and health stats, similar to San Andreas. One of the biggest complaints people had with RDR2 was its inflexible mission structure and extremely scripted gameplay loop that forced you to play a certain way. Rockstar can fix this issue in RDR3 by designing multiple ways to complete each mission, giving us as the player more freedom of choice since we already have this giant immersive open world with so many different types of weapons to use. Also, with all the advancements in AI recently, we could even see NPCs who create their own dialogue based on changing environments and player demeanor. This would be the perfect merger of role-playing and cowboy action, a true paradigm shift in gaming. But besides some of the news we discussed in 2021, this is all just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What would you like to see in RDR3? Do you want to see the early days of the Vanderlyn gang, for example? Or would you want to see a brand new protagonist and story? Personally, I love a story featuring a lone wolf character with a mysterious past like Red Harlow from Red Dead Revolver, where you start alone, but you can gradually recruit new members as you progress through the story, maybe even like Mass Effect or Dragon Age. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. This is probably the first and only RDR3 video I'm going to make until we get some actual confirmation on the game being out. So with that being said, like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.